Alrighty, so for the final segment of this show, I want to talk a little bit about the Chicago Bears and their whole stadium saga, which would be the best way to explain this. So, I got a lot to talk about. Because you all know how I feel about the Bears. I think they're a terrible franchise. I think they should be sold. I think they've been the most mediocre and most, what's the word I'm looking for? Laughing stock of the league for years. So, best way to break this down, let's start with good old Lori Lightfoot. Yeah, that's a little transition there. And the renovations that she suggested for Soldier Field. These, obviously, three basic concepts. One was a multi-purpose field, help get the Chicago Fire up there, which I think would be cool. Because I think the Chicago Fire are located in a very rough spot. Granted, not a lot of people are big soccer fans, but I think it'd be cool to see something different. It'd be cool to see a different kind of sport in Chicago and not just the normal stuff. But that's personally just me. You could have also there was an open air stadium, and correct me if I'm wrong. Well, there's a dome one, obviously, but there's an open air stadium, and correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Soldier Field located on Lake Michigan in the city of Chicago? One of the coldest fucking places in the world when it comes to the winter, besides Antarctica and more at all the places up north. To me, an open air stadium is one of the dumbest ideas in the world. What would be the point of it? Granted, it explains that like it's open air to be prepared for a dome, whatnot. But to me, I feel like there shouldn't be three options given. It should either be open and multi-purpose, or it should be a dome. None of this open air garbage. Because if you give us, if the final product is some kind of like the Rams have out in LA, where there's a dome on top, but it's like there's air flying through the sides, what's that gonna do in December and early January? What is that gonna do? Is it gonna make -2 degree games seem like 10 because you're pumping so much heat into the damn place? What's the point of that? But you know what? That's just me. That's not the overall arching point of this segment. The overarching point is, should the Bears be in a dome? Or should they keep it open? Not open air, but open like it is now. Whether they're at Soldier Field or Arlington. Me personally, I don't care where they go. If they're not in a dome, that'd be the stupidest move known to mankind. Doesn't matter if they stay in Soldier Field with their renovations or they go to Arlington. There needs to be a dome on that field. And if you tell me otherwise, you're wrong. And I know why you're wrong. Because you're going to give me some kind of garbage excuse of, oh, that's a very pussy move. Oh, they're men. Oh, they should play in the conditions. This, that, whatever. Better yet, somebody actually I even saw an excuse out there on social media where somebody said, and I'm paraphrasing, that, actually, quotacious paraphrasing, whatever the phrase is, that the cold weather gives the Bears an advantage in late December, early January, and February in the playoffs and in the cold months. Now, I'll agree there might be a little bit of an advantage there. Like, I'll agree, because if you play like a Rams or a Tampa Bay or whatnot, the warmer climate teams might be a little bit of an advantage. But how has that advantage helped them in the last few years? When has this team been to the Super Bowl last? 2005? 2006? Whenever the fuck they played the Colts? When was the last time they made a deep run to make games at Soldier Field more impactful? Like a deep run, not when Cody Parkey screwed it for them against the Eagles, who, by the way, very cold stadium as well. What has the cold done to get this team to where it needs to be? I'll tell you what, nothing. It has done nothing for them. So to use that excuse and say, oh, it's an advantage, you're just lying to yourself. You're trying to remember the good old days in 85 and like the big defenses back then, or like the days with Urlacher, Briggs, and those boys. That's what you're doing. And to be honest, you need to get, whoever believes that, you need to just stop thinking that way, because this is a mediocre franchise with mediocre management, mediocre owners, all that stuff. If we need to be honest, if you want to use that argument, we need to be able to get to late December and January for that argument to be irrelevant. Because if we don't, then you just sound like an idiot. But that's just me. Anyway, second point that I have is, and I'm looking at my notes here, they're a laughing stock. Yep, I wrote that. And also, you can do more with a dome besides holding Bears games in the winter. Obviously, summer, like you can do a lot with an open field. But if you have a dome in the winter, you can have the concerts. You could have basketball games. You could have WrestleMania there. Like all this stuff. You can bring in more revenue for like different areas. Like if they go to Arlington, if you have like a WrestleMania there or like a concert there, all those little shops and shit, like if there's any hotels around there or like restaurants, they're going to benefit from more stuff being at that stadium. Besides a mediocre football team playing 8 or 9 games a year. Because what else are they going to do with that field? What else happens if it's an open field in the winter in Chicago? It's only good for Bears games. It's only good to see this bullshit team win, 4, maybe 5 games on that fucking field? That's all it's good for. So if you put a dome on it, it benefits everyone. It benefits the communities. It benefits the teams. It benefits your concession staff and shit that can actually work multiple times during the winter instead of just at these fucking Bears games. So bottom line is, please, regardless if they go to Chicago, or they stay in Chicago rather, or they go to Arlington, put this team in a dome. Put a retractable roof if you want. I don't care. They should be in a dome. It's going to benefit everyone. And if you don't believe that, you are part of the problem. And you're the reason we're allowing this mediocrity, this garbage to continue, because you just think that at some point this team is going to revert back to the good old days. Put them in a fucking dome and let's just be done with it. Jesus Christ.